To start the second part of the session, can I kindly request everyone to say sadhu?
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Honor to him, the blessed one, the worthy one, the fully enlightened one. Honor to him, the blessed one, the worthy one, the fully enlightened one. Honor to him, the blessed one, the worthy one, the fully enlightened one. There is the case where there being equanimity as a factor for awakening present within, it discerns that equanimity as a factor for awakening is present within me. Or there being no equanimity as a factor for awakening present within, it discerns that equanimity as a factor for awakening is not present within me. It discerns how there is a rising of unarisen equanimity as a factor for awakening. And it discerns how there is the culmination of the development of equanimity as a factor for awakening once it has arisen. Dear Dhamma friends, as everyone is aware, we are taking this time on every Wednesday to do a bit of mindfulness practice and then have a chat about it and raise any questions that you will have regarding it. So the reason or the time we are taking now is to listen to a talk on mindfulness, and we have selected the 4 foundations of mindfulness as our topic. And in that discourse, there are so many topics, there are so much of information, and we have discussed those information and try to understand academically what they are and intellectually how you can relate, and also the most important thing is how best this will evolve in your practice. So we have come a long way in that discourse now, been discussing for quite some time. And now we are discussing the 7 factors for enlightenment. So this is the key to reach the final liberation or the final goal. And as the word itself, it is 7 factors. There are 7 things. And of those 7 things, we have already discussed 6. And today, we are going to discuss equanimity, which is the last one. And in all these 7 factors, when it comes to 4 foundations of mindfulness, and the discourse is not explaining what they are, but what the discourse is trying to tell us is even they are not permanent, and even they are not under our control, right? So you will have to allow law of nature to rule even when it comes to these 7 factors, which is so crucial to the enlightenment. So that is the crust, that is the base of the 4 foundations of mindfulness, so far as the 7 factors of equanimity is concerned. And not only that, and in all other sub-headings that we have discussed, the Lord Buddha is trying to show how impermanent they are, right? So bearing that in mind, we will have to first understand what equanimity is. That is what we have been doing right along in the other 7 factors as well. So just to recap what we have done in the past, so far as the 7 factors of enlightenment are concerned, so I just remind you what they are. It is not necessary to memorize. You will not either pass or fail, depending on whether you memorize it or not, or whether you remember it or not. But it is important for you to know the sequence and the flow of how things are evolving. So the 7 factors are, they call it in Pali, I'll first say the Pali words, Sati Sambojjhanga, Dhamma Vichaya Sambojjhanga, Virya Sambojjhanga, Priti Sambojjhanga, Passaddhi Sambojjhanga, Samadhi Sambojjhanga, Upekha Sambojjhanga, and they are the 7 factors. And in English, we call them, there are so many names in English, but what I have picked up are mindfulness as a factor for enlightenment or awakening, investigation of states as a factor for awakening, energy as a factor for awakening, rapture as a factor for awakening, tranquility or serenity as a factor for awakening, concentration as a factor for awakening, and the last one, equanimity as a factor for awakening. And they are the signposts. They are the 7 factors we are considering. And in the discourse for mindfulness in breathing, breathing mindfulness discourse, the Lord Buddha is showing a very nice linear relationship among these 7 factors. So therefore, when you look at them, one helps the other, one supports the other, right? So therefore, first one is explaining the mindfulness as a factor for awakening means having unremitting mindfulness either in the body or in your feelings or in your mind or in the phenomena, right? So if you have your unwavering mindfulness in any of those things, then it is considered that you have mindfulness as a factor for awakening. And when you have that unremitting or unwavering or very firm mindfulness, what it shows you is the nature of whatever the object that you have. It may be the body or the feelings or the mind or phenomena. And seeing that very nature of the object is the next result of having that firm mindfulness, which we call investigation or Dhamma Vichay. Right? You will start seeing things you have things that you have not experienced in the past in your day-to-day lives. And it says, arising from unremitting mindfulness, one examines, analyzes, and comes to comprehension of that quality of wisdom with discernment. So although these words they're using in English are active, what is actually happening is you don't really do anything as such of energy. And therefore, in that discourse, the Blessed One says, in one who examines, analyzes, and comes to comprehension of that quality of wisdom with discernment, tireless energy is aroused. Right? That tireless energy is called as the energy as a factor for awakening. And then you have this tireless energy and let the investigation to take place. And you can't do that unless you enjoy it. So therefore, the Blessed One says, since this is continuing starting from firm mindfulness, the rapture is arising. It says, one who is aroused energy, one who has aroused energy, unworldly rapture within you, which you have not seen in the club, which you have not seen in the restaurant, which you have not seen at home or in the office. So it's unworldly rapture arises. And when this unworldly rapture arises, the next stage of the unworldly rapture or this linear relationship is allowing you, this rapture is arising because your mind is getting calmer and calmer. When the mind is getting calmer, the body is trying to enjoy that calmness. And as a result, body is feeling so much of massaging and so much of peace. And we have discussed that in detail. And when you let that continue, what happens is both these start becoming mature, or both this starts maturing. But when I say both, it is both the mind and the body start maturing. So when the mind and the body starts maturing, the discourse says, in one who is rapturous, the body and the mind becomes tranquil. In Pali it says, Priti Manassa Kayampi Passambati Chittampi Passambati, which means when you have calm mind, then what happens is both your body and the mind starts becoming more and more relaxed, right? So when both these things are becoming more and more relaxed, in rapture, what happens is your mind is calm, but the body is not. But when you keep on developing it, when you keep on practicing, and you can see this imbalance, mind is so calm, but body is not. Body is so rapturous and it is giving so much of excitement within. But over time, you see this difference, and then it both comes to tranquility, both becomes harmonious. So that is what is meant here. Priti manassa kayampi pasambati chittampi pasambati. So that is the tranquility as a factor for awakening. So when you have tranquility, then the next one is arising. It says concentration as a factor for awakening. It says, for one who is tranquil, his body calmed, the mind becomes concentrated. So when the body is not showing off its colors, mind becomes more and more objective. Mind becomes more and more sharp. So it gets concentrated. It may be just one object, or it may be any object, or it may not take any object. It will be so firm, right? And when the mind of one who is tranquil, his body calm, becomes concentrated. So it works either way. Mind is calm and the body becomes concentrated. When body is calm, mind becomes concentrated. So when both these things are happening, then the concentration as a factor for awakening is aroused, and then it develops and comes to the culmination of its development. So this is what you experience when you walk, right? So initially you start walking and observing the informations that you will get from your walking, observing the sole of the feet. And what gradually happens is your attention goes to the sole of the feet, and then gradually you may start observing not just the sole of the feet, you may feel the calf muscles, you may feel the thigh muscle, and then you will start observing that the entire walking is happening, and it's like a rolling of a tire, or it may be like paddling a bicycle. You will see that it is just a continuous process after starting the walk, and then walk is happening naturally without your involvement. And sometimes you may feel that your walk is going out of balance, and you feel that you're walking in the moon sometimes. So which means when your mind gets into the process of walking, all your activities, all your formations, all your intentional activities gradually subside and they become calmer, right? So when they become calmer, then that happens because of the concentration. That happens because your mind is not wandering outside. That happens because your mind is not agitated with anything. That happens because you don't suspect anything what you are doing, and all those conditions allow you to have this concentrated mind. So it's the same thing. In breathing, what happens initially, you may feel the gross breath, and you will see all the facets of anything that that you will be able to observe, either grossness or subtleness, or you may see it very easy. And on observing that, and it comes to a point, you are sitting and observing, but there is no breath to observe. Your breathing is happening, but it has become so subtle. You don't require so subtle that you are unable to observe it. You have conserved your energy so much that even your so sharp concentration is unable to see the energy that is exerted to maintain the body. So when you become concentrated or when you become calmer, we are conserving so much of energy. So that is the calming of the body as well as the mind, and which is the concentration. This concentration we discussed in the last meeting, that does not happen naturally, and there are certain factors that you will, without your knowledge or maybe with your knowledge, feed the development of the concentration. And they are called fostering frequent attention to the beginning of themes of tranquility and themes of non-distraction. So you will have concentration. On one hand, you need to have tranquility, and on the other hand, you need to have as less distractions as possible. So when these two factors are fed very frequently to its, not just the factors, to the beginning of those factors very frequently, then you will be gradually developing the concentration. And in fact, there is nothing for you to do specially to cultivate those food. You don't do any cultivation, you don't do any farming of these things. And when you keep the mindfulness to the fore and let whatever unfold to unfold and simply observe without choosing anything, that is when you provide these nutriments necessary, right? So if I quickly go through the factors that were helping the themes for tranquility, and according to the teaching, the words which are used are Kalla Chittang, Madhu Chittang, Udagga Chittang, Prasanna Chittang, Vinivarana Chittang, which means a stable and matured mind. It's like a paddy field which is ready for sowing. And Mudhu Chittang is tender and flexible mind. You will not have a very hard, tough mind, rough mind. It's very flexible. And Udagga Chittang is well energized mind, not lethargic. And Prasanna Chittang, you have a pleasant mind, see anything with a smile, irrespective of how pleasing or unpleasant it is. And Vinivarana Chittang, it's the mind which is free from hindrances. So they, the spirit, and these faculties are balanced, because these faculties, like our ear, eye, etc., spirituality also have some faculties. So each of these faculties are having their own sub-departmental activities. So they have their own objective, is only able to see, and here is only their own speciality. But if you go in, if the faculties are going in all the 5 directions, then you will not be able to develop your spirituality. So it requires some concentration. It requires some discourage the sub-optimization of these faculties, and it should focus on the one goal, which is attaining the Nibbana. So when you foster these things, you balance those faculties, and it, instead of going on their own, in their own objectives, you focus them onto the main objective of the Lord Buddha, which is attaining Nibbana. So the other thing that happens is it also unifies the, I'm back. All right. So I was saying, from these themes, the happiness from these faculties are also unified. And also understanding, you will be able to understand the level of energy required in the path. We call it Tadupaga Virya Vahanata. And the next thing is understanding the necessary preconditions to be provided. What is which place, what time, what food will help you to develop concentration. So the next thing that we discussed last time was Abhyagga-nimitta. The first one was first one we called Samatha-nimitta, and this one we call Abhyagga-nimitta, which is the frequent attention to the theme of non-distraction. And there you can avoid the distraction on this by having a clean surrounding, both internally and externally, and developing a skill to reach the object very quickly. And that happens when you keep on your practice. No need to struggle to observe the breath. It naturally comes to you. And then ability to condemn the deceiving mind. That's very important, because when you practice, there will be a lot of suggestions that are coming. Do this, do that. And most of them will be just to put you into trouble, take you out of the object, or take you out of the mindfulness. So you should have the ability to quickly understand them and then condemn them with a smile, right? Not that you fight with them. You don't give in to that suggestion that is coming from the mind. And at the same time, there will have appreciations coming. And when the mindfulness is going well, you should be able to appreciate that developing mindfulness as well. So those are the things that are necessary to avoid distractions, or the themes for non-distraction. So when the mind can, when this happens, when the concentration happens, when the nutriments are provided, the mind is able to maintain the perfect balance. And that leads to, when you have the concentrated mind, that leads to today's topic, which we started at the beginning, which is equanimity. Equanimity as a factor for enlightenment. And the discourse on mindfulness breathing, or mindfulness in breathing, states like this: mind thus concentrated becomes well indifferent. When mind thus concentrated becomes well indifferent, equanimity as a factor for awakening is aroused in him. He develops it, and for him it goes for the culmination of its development. So that is equanimity. So when the mind is concentrated, it becomes indifferent. In Pali it says, so tata samahitang chittam sadhukam ajjupekka hoti. So which means your mind is so concentrated, and as a result, it is not giving into anything that happens, either pleasant or unpleasant. So let me put it this way to explain it. When you take, what do you call it? In kids' park, you have this ride called, do we call it seesaw? Nilantha? This, you have, we call it seesaw, I don't know what.
Yeah, that's the word.
Yeah. Yeah, in the seesaw, what happens is, when you concentrate it, what's the center of that pole or center of that bar, then it just becomes so concentrated. So when there is no movement up and down, and that went, and like that, when one is equanimous, one won't strive for either breath or walking. You have become so equanimous to your practice, whether breath is there or not, you are able to very peacefully sit. It's not necessary to look for anything. If you are looking for something, your equanimity has not developed it. If you simply sit and keep your awareness switched on, and not that you sleep. Equanimous does not mean, in becoming indifferent does not mean you become a vegetable. It means your awareness is so high and you know everything that is going on, but you don't poke your fingers. It may be you don't interpret them as well. You don't try to give any judgment about them. You see things are happening, and your mind just simply observe. You lose basically characteristics of those things, whether anything is the same almost. So when that happens, you don't care. You just keep walking, or you just keep sitting, whether breath is there or whether something else is there or not. You just keep doing whatever you are doing with heightened mindfulness. So for the equanimity, it is very important. When you go through feelings, it is very important. It will be very easy to develop equanimity to a greater degree, because in feelings, you will have a lot of unpleasant feelings. Especially painful feelings. And then equanimity is developing to a great extent. But having said that, if you are not mindful when that pain goes away, then you will not be equanimous. You will be bogged down in the happiness. So when you have the pleasant feelings as well at the same time, you will have to be equally mindful and equally be aware of it, so that you will have an indifferent mind, both to the positives and to the negatives. I'm just taking feelings as an example since it is easy to explain. And it is the same thing, any other mind state. You will have very agitated mind. When the agitated mind is there, you jump up and down. When the calm mind is there, you have a big smile. No, in both the situations, you should have the same mindset. You will have a very angry mind. You will have a very friendly mind. Whatever it is, you should not get affected by those things. So having said that, they are not things that you can do. By being mindful, you will, what the mindfulness teaches is the non-reaction itself. So the target of the mindfulness is final to get to equanimity. And so therefore, from my perspective, equanimity is a product of mindfulness. And from the beginning, it is teaching how not to be reactive. So when you develop this non-reactional mentality, and when you develop only observation mentality, what you simply develop is the equanimity. And in the process, you will have a lot of other factors helping it. And you can see that you are equanimous only at the very last moment. Things are happening. Water is going above your nose. You don't care. You don't bother. You just float. You don't struggle. Right? So therefore, one will not hate the disturbances therefore coming into practice. And all of them become objects for the attention only, not disturbances anymore. There is nothing called disturbances. Everything is a factor for you to be mindful. And this means that one will not struggle with the self, right? Otherwise, all the time what we do is, when we are not equanimous enough, we struggle ourselves. We fight with ourselves, not outside world. We fight with ourselves. So when you are more and more equanimous, fight within subsides. So therefore, the Blessed One has used a few nice terms for it, and they call it, it's a way of living. It's a mode of conduct. And the one word used by Lord Buddha is Aranapatipada. Aranapatipada means peaceful mode of conduct. And there Rana in Pali is you fight, you go to war. Arana means you don't fight, right? So you have a way of living without fight. So that is equanimity, Arana Patipada. And there's another one, Aviruddha Pratipada. Aviruddha Pratipada means friendly mode of conduct, right? Usually, even when we talk with our friends, or maybe partner, maybe husband or wife, right? Maybe parents, maybe sibling, we always have opposing view, and we start with talking the word no. But you are going to talk positive for something, but you start the word no. That is how this going against unfriendly mentalities built in within us. So in Aviruddha Pratipada, or the friendly mode of conduct, you don't behave in that manner. You don't go against anything. Whatever that comes your way, accepted with a smile. So friendly mode of conduct, or Aviruddha Pratipada, we call it. And there is a good explanation about it in one of the discourses. We call it tortoise discourse, or Kumopama Sutta. And what it says is, Buddha is giving a simile that there is a fox in the jungle trying to eat a tortoise. And as soon as the tortoise sees the fox, what it does is it pulls in all its heads and the limbs into the shell, right? And the fox comes and, kick and throw it from the nose and do all sorts of things to crack open and take the flesh of the tortoise. Tortoise just keep quiet inside. So like that, the Blessed One says, even for the practitioner, there will have so many mental volitions coming up, especially at this stage, at the stage of concentration. So many mental volitions to do this, to do this, to do this interpretation, to do this, take this judgment, and a lot of intentional suggestions will come, right? So you don't stop anything. This is what we call thinking sometimes. You don't stop anything. You let them happen, and you don't try to become part of it. You don't try to identify yourself with it. You don't pull out and say, hey, folks, go away. Then you're finished. Or you don't try to be mindful about the thoughts as well at this stage. It has come on its own, and you are not going to do mindful and then see what happens. You just ignore them. You just sit and observe, because the mind is so concentrated. So this is, I'm talking about a stage where there is no necessity for you to be mindful of the thoughts as well. So that is what the Blessed One says. When you are concentrated, and if so much of thoughts are coming, just forget it. Just forget it. Just be like a tortoise who takes its limbs inside and the head inside, and let the jackal play and go. Play and go. In this instance, if you try to be mindful of the thoughts that are coming, they will be agitating as well. So therefore, just let them be. And if you just let them be, what happens is, that is in itself is being mindful. That is in itself being non-reactive. Something which you have not intentionally done has come up, so you don't involve in it. Most of the time what we do is, we try to solve others' problems and get into soup. The same thing with ourselves as well. These thoughts that are coming up, we think they are our thoughts, and we are going to correct ourselves. They're not our thoughts. If they are our thoughts, if we have intentionally brought them, they come on their own. So don't try to be either father or mother of the thoughts. They came and they will go as anything else. So you'll have to simply ignore them and then just sit or walk. That's all. Or another example that the Blessed One is giving is, you should be like, when those things are coming up, so many suggestions are coming up, you should be like a feather reaching a fire. When you take a feather to a burning fire, what happens is the feather does not jump into the fire. it burns backwards. So it goes backwards. So like that, when those thoughts are coming up, instead of going and, as I said, trying to be mindful or to see whether it's good thoughts or bad thoughts, the lustful thoughts or no lustful thoughts, or angry thoughts or no angry thoughts, no need to categorize and see and try to be mindful. And all, you just get back and enjoy the sitting or enjoy the walking. That's it. And that's how when you are equanimous. And in one of the another sutta, which is called Bahya Daruchirya Sutta, in that sutta, Blessed One is giving very nice meditation object or very quick enlightenment, quick way to enlighten. But I don't try to be, I mean, we can do it, but it is not easy. It requires lots and lots and lots of preparation. This person is someone like that who has prepared for this for so many lives in the past. And he's called Bahya Daruchirya. Bahya Daruchirya means he is wearing only bark as his cloth. So he's just covering his bottom part with bark cloth. So therefore, call him Bahya. His name is Bahya. Daruchirya means Bahya, who is wearing bark cloth. So this person is very respected by the villagers, and then he's looked after very well, in the sense, not that he's given clothes or anything. He's living such a simple life, and therefore his all other requirements of him has been taken care by the people around. And then one day, the people think that he's an arahant. So one day he wanted to know whether he's really an arahant, and then he realized he's not, and he was so upset about it. And then he heard that the Blessed One is around, and then he went in search of him. And then finally, when he went to the place where the Blessed One was residing, he had gone on alms round. And then he ran behind him, and then he saw this peaceful walking giant, and then quietly approached him, and then told him he has fallen down at his feet, and told him, please tell me Dhamma right now. Then the Blessed One has said, this is not the time to preach Dhamma. I'm going on alms round, so when I come back, I will teach you Dhamma. Then he has pleaded again, when you come back, I may not be here, or I'm not quite sure whether you will be able to come back. So therefore, please teach me right now. And the Blessed One has once again said, no, this is alms round, so I can't teach you now. And he has pleaded again, I will not have the faith about you for the next few minutes or when you come back. So this is the time I have faith about you. So please tell me Dhamma. Then the Blessed One has said, okay, just keep this in mind. And he has said, in the scene will be a mere seeing. In the heard will be mere hearing. In the sensed will be mere sensing. In the cognized will be mere cognizing. I'll repeat it. In the seen will be mere seeing. In the heard will be mere hearing. In the sensed will be mere sensing. In the cognized will be mere cognizing. So in other words, when we see something, it is not just seeing. We try to grab hold of it, or we try to chase it as much as possible if we don't like it. Similarly, when we hear something, we don't consider that as just hearing. We go much more beyond that. We put it to our phone and then put earbuds and then listening to it all the time. We don't consider that as only a hearing, a sound and the ear. But Blessed One has said, this is a short Dhamma. Then Bahya, you will, then Blessed One has continued and said, then Bahya, you will not be with that. When Bahya, you are not with that, then Bahya, you will not be in that. When Bahya, you are not in that, then Bahya, you will be neither here, nor beyond, nor in between the two. Just this is the end of suffering. So that is a short Dhamma. I'll read it again. Then Bahya, you will not be with that. When Bahya, you are not with that, then Bahya, you will not be in that. When Bahya, you are not in that, then Bahya, you will be neither here, nor beyond, nor in between the two. This is the end of the suffering. When something happens, we will be either, if say, for example, we see something, we will be either with the ear, with the eye, or we will be with the thing that we have seen. So we will be in either of the thing, or we will be in between if we grab hold of it, and then we will go ahead with the causations that takes place after seeing. Either we love it or we start hating it, and depending on that, a lot of other things may happen, right? So, but if you consider seeing only as a seeing, then you will not be in there. Then when you are not in there, you will not be either here or there, or not even in between. So this is after saying that, Lord Buddha has given a nice inspired utterance. So before giving that inspired utterance, Lord Buddha has said this and gone on his alms rounds, and on the way back, people have gathered around something. So when the Lord Buddha reached that place with the other monks who have gone on alms round with him, Lord Buddha has seen someone is dead. When he went closed, he has seen Bahya is dead. Then monks have asked, no, Lord Buddha has said, please arrange a funeral for an arahant. Then other monks have asked why. Then he said, he's a person who has removed his suffering with the last sermon he heard from me. He has been contemplating on it, and at the time he has died he has been killed by a cow, stray cow. And when he was killed, he has applied the last Dhamma I have mentioned, so he has not been painful, and he has not been part of it, and therefore he has ended his suffering. And how he says is, I mean, you may see this as, a bit of magic or black magic. Blessed One has shown the monks there. Can you see that dark cloud hovering around him? And that dark cloud is the evil one. Evil one is trying to see his, if I may use the word soul, trying to see his soul, and he is not having a soul. So therefore, he is an arahant. He has ended his suffering. So after saying that, the Blessed One has given an inspired utterance. He has said, where neither water nor yet earth, no fire, no air gain a foothold. There gleam no stars, no sun sheds light. There shines no moon, yet there no darkness reigns. When a sage, a Brahman, has come to this for himself through his own wisdom, then he is freed from form and formless, freed from pleasure and from pain. So this is the utterance that the Lord Buddha has mentioned to confirm that this particular person is an arahant. So what I simply want to say is that when you have a concentrated mind and equanimous mind, rather not concentrated mind, equanimous mind, you will not be clinging onto anything. Your clinging will completely vanish away. As a result, you will not be neither there nor here nor in between. If there is some sort of a clinging, as we all do, we are either somewhere, but we have the potential to get to this final stage gradually, little by little, not overnight. We can give up both the ends and even the middle. We can give up the form, we can give up the formless, and end our suffering. So with that, I will end my talk as well. And thank you very much for listening. And we will continue from there again on equanimity in the next session. Blessings of the Noble Triple Gem.
Thank you, Bante.
Yes. So with that, if you have any questions, we can take.
I have a question.
Yes.
I would like to know if you have an answer to my question, because, you know, perhaps you don't know the answer to this question, but my question is, when the human body dies, is it definitely known that suffering ends?
Death of the human body is not the end of the suffering.
It's not.
No.
That's terrible.
Yeah. Death of the human body is not the end of the suffering. The suffering that Lord Buddha is talking about, bodily suffering is very, very minimal and it's negligible. But
it's minimal.
Yes. It is. I mean, since we are with the body and we think that is the main thing, but our main suffering is in the mind.
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
So if we develop our mind and if we train our mind, we can go through the bodily suffering. So end of the body is not the end of suffering. End of the suffering is end of the craving.
So in that way, does God suffer?
Not God to suffer. You will have to use the body to get rid of the craving or the craving towards the body. We have this mental quality called craving, and because of that craving only we suffer.
Yes, and so does the divine creator of reality have cravings?
Yeah, no, this is again another aspect. In Buddhism, we don't believe in divine creator. What we see is the causation. One leads to the other. It's a cause and effect relationship, right? So we are suffering just because of one reason. That reason is our birth. So what we do is we try to avoid or minimize the number of times we will be born. So when we avoid our birth, and some people can't think of it, When we avoid our birth, then there is no suffering, no body, no mind. As a result, there is nothing to give you suffering.
So in Buddhism, the body and the mind exist together.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, if you have a life, we don't call it body and the mind, although I use the words. We call it physical process and mental process. So these two processes are working together day and night, 24/7, 365. No rest, at least a fraction of a second. And when we develop ego towards that process, then we create suffering. What mindfulness does is just observe this process. Don't get involved. So by that, you gradually start learning the art of not getting involved and therefore not craving to what is happening. So when the craving reduces and it comes to a climax, then you can be equanimous. So equanimous means you have the ability now to avoid suffering, to end suffering.
Thank you for your answer.
Thank you. Did you agree, or you will have to think about it?
I don't understand why. I don't understand why anything exists.
Understand why anything exists? You mean the living things or the other things?
I don't know what's happening.
Let me put it this way: you don't know what is happening to yourself or in general in the society.
Either. Neither.
Yeah.
Neither.
Yeah. So it is very difficult to come to this mentality, and having that mentality is I would say superhuman mentality. We don't see any rationale to whatever is happening around us, because people are going in a rat race and we simply don't understand why. Because all what we do is, when we live, we eat, we drink, we sleep, we live in fear, if I may use the word fear, and produce our own kind and die. To do that, what an agony the entire society is going on. So you are spot on. We don't understand. But that is happening simply because of the craving. And people don't know craving, that there is something called craving. And no teachers, no universities, no politicians, no bosses, no parents are teaching that this is all that you will have to know and you can end suffering. We get conditions in to enjoy the suffering. That is what the entire society is doing. So if someone is having the mentality, what the heck is going on in the society? So that man is having some sense of spirituality within him. So you're right. But there is a way out. There is a way out. Just being angry with it or upset with it or going against it, we cannot end our suffering. We can end our suffering only by ourselves. We can end our suffering. So for that, we will have to work. We'll have to work hard.
Okay, I have a final question in that case.
Yeah.
Are Buddhists grateful to be alive?
Very much so. very much so. We never hate our life. The reason is this: without having this life, we are unable to end suffering. Ending life is not the end of the suffering. And that is again another craving that we have. We have three types of cravings. One craving is we have the craving for the sensual world, that the world that we see and that we see the rat race in. And the other world is the spiritual world, where they go into a lot of jhanas and absorptions and higher mental joy, and they stay there. And that's again another craving. And the other craving is when we go against these two things and we generate a craving for non-existence, and that is hidden within us. So we think, therefore, getting rid of ourselves will solve all the problems. That is only a person like Buddha will be able to find out that there is a craving like that. So he found that out, and he very clearly mentioned, being born as a human being is a dividend of the good deed that you have done in the past. So make use of those things to come out of the suffering in the right way. And then he preached these 4 foundations of mindfulness. So therefore, the Buddhists are so grateful for the life we have, and we really enjoy the life when we live a mindful life.
It's better to be grateful than ungrateful, that's for sure.
We are very grateful. Without this life, we are unable to go beyond the mental process, go beyond the physical process. So therefore, this life is so important. So important to end suffering. So this is the vehicle.
I think Buddhism is very good for me because very often I'm ungrateful
to the life.
Yes.
Yeah, that is because you have not come in contact with Buddhism, but at the same time you see that there is a lot of suffering in the world. That is very true. But to end suffering, the answer is not the ending of life. Answer is being mindful and simple thinking, rather simple living, high thinking. That is what monks do. You come and ordain in Sri Lanka, become a monk.
A monk sounds beautiful and horrible at the same time.
No, you are right. You are right. It is beautiful because you give up a lot of troubles in the society. And it is horrible when you come to monk's life, you all those thoughts about that horrible society is coming up, and we think that life is so beautiful. So you are right, and we will have to undergo little suffering to get rid of a lot of suffering. So that is what monks do. We will have to just take care of our meditation only, and everything else is looked after by the supporters.
Yes, thank you very much.
No, it is my pleasure.
Bhante, I have a question.
Yeah.
If you were to take your own life, what does that mean? That you have to come back and do it all again?
I don't think I heard it well, Tracy.
If you take or somebody takes their own life, does that mean that you have to come back, be reborn, and do it all again?
Yes, yes, yes. if you take your own life, that's very bad karma, because you hating oneself is the highest hate you can do.
Does that mean that the next life that you come back to will be harder than the one that you had?
There is no guarantee that you will be born as a human being when that happens. Unless that person has developed mindfulness. If he has developed mindfulness, then he will have some room to be mindful at the time of death. Otherwise, if he has taken his own life with so much of hatred of himself, so it's a very bad birth he will have in the next life. And it will take so many years to be born as a human being again.
So you sort of go back to basics and slowly build back up to a higher being a human being.
Yes. I mean, there is no quantification of those things. Being the opportunity of being born as a human being, extremely rare. Extremely rare.
Sorry, you go.
Yeah, the simile that the Blessed One has given is, there is blind sea tortoise, and when it is coming up, he's coming after 100 years up the water, and then he sees the full moon after 100 years. So the tortoise is blind. So when all these things are happening, he is coming after 100 years and he has only one eye, and it should be a full moon day. So when all these conditions are fulfilled, then he will be able to see the full moon day. So like that, human birth is so rare thing.
So it's a privilege to be born human.
Yes, it's a very much so, because this is one world where you can realize the teaching. And in other worlds, in higher worlds, what happens is you have so much of pleasure, and you don't feel learning this.
It seems
in the netherworld, you don't have the opportunity. You will have to simply suffer only.
It seems in our society at the moment that we don't overall have an appreciation or an understanding of that. We take our privilege of life for granted and don't appreciate it, and often focus on the challenges rather than acknowledge the really good things that we have in our life.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We don't make use of the human potential to end suffering.
During your talk, I didn't always hear correctly, but I thought that you said when you were talking about somebody dying that there could be evil spirit around that. I was just wondering what that might mean.
When was that? Can you just give the context?
Okay. It's
Yeah.
when a human dies, and then there's something hovering around him.
Yeah. So what's the question?
I just don't understand that. So what is it like an evil spirit, but what is it? What does it do? Why is it around the body that's passed?
Yes. What the Blessed One has said there is, that is the evil one. Evil one is, we call it Mara. He is the one above all the realms. He's the one ruling the universe. So when someone dies, he ensures, or his army ensures, that particular person is not ending suffering or not ending the birth. He's born again somewhere. If you are born again somewhere, it will be under him. The Buddhist cosmology is having, I think, I exactly don't remember, 27 or 28 realms, higher realms. And in those realms, this evil one is on top. And he is only ruling everything else. So when someone dies, his army comes and ensures that he's getting another birth somewhere.
So the only way to avoid that is to achieve enlightenment.
Yes. Either achieve the enlightenment or be in the path. Being in the path is also, he will ensure that we will be born somewhere, but he won't be able to take us away from the path. We will be born again in a place where we can continue the practice.
So born at a higher level than otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, it may be high level or human realm or
Yes.
yeah, there is only one or two higher realms where we can practice, and otherwise you'll have to come to the human world. So in the human world, you will be born again, most probably, and then you will be able to continue the practice.
Bhante, I just want to remind you that last week you said that I had to answer some questions. So I just want to say I've done it now for the next 6 months.
Right. Right.
Chatu, thought it was really funny that you were going to ask me this week. I said that I had to speak.
Right. No, that's okay. That's all right. So is your practice going continuously or?
Yes, I'm still struggling with meditation, but I actually have noticed much more I'm able to observe and be detached from the situation, whatever's happening, to see that it's happening, but to be back from it and not get caught up in it.
Yeah. So is it while practicing or in the normal life?
It's both. I probably only meditate like 3 times a week.
Yeah.
And I try and do like an hour, but just in normal life, I'm noticing that detachment. So when I'm meditating, I've got monkey brain. It's popping all over the place with thoughts and ideas.
Yeah.
But I acknowledge that and I come back and start again, sort of thing. But I'm constantly still doing that through the meditation. But during just everyday living, like at the moment, I'm living with my mum and we haven't always gotten on. So she would say things, I could just feel myself like getting really agitated by it. Whereas now it just flows through me and it's just like, she's an old lady, patient. She doesn't mean what she's, to do that.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't have any impact. I can just remain calm and remain nice to her without feeling agitated or guilty for the thoughts that I might have had towards her.
No, when any such emotion comes up, then you label it straight away as it is. If you are agitated, you just label it as agitation. If you are angry, you label it as angry. Or anger.
The thing that's sort of I've actually noticed is that I'm not even feeling the anger or the agitation.
Yeah.
I'm recognizing that in the past this would have made me feel that way, but it's just flowing through me now.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, anything when we practice mindfulness in day-to-day life, is what we will have to do is, rather than bringing something else into the equation, we will have to accept the situation as it is.
Yeah. And that's also in the traffic, like our traffic is really bad here and I hate to be late anywhere, but if I'm stuck in traffic and I'm going to be late, I can just be really calm and go, can't change it. We'll get there when I get there. Sort of thing.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. All right. So we will have a proper report next time.
What's a proper report?
Proper report is where you said you are practicing about 3 times a week.
Yes.
So then in a proper report, what you will say is you will give a report about your walking and the sitting.
Okay.
And in walking, you will say, this is what I focus on.
Okay.
And these are the observations I make.
Mhm.
And if there are any disturbances to observation that you are making, how you are handling those disturbances, etc. And same thing even in sitting. This is why I try to focus on, and I am able to focus on that place, or I am unable to focus on that place. If I am able, these are the observations. When it is unable, these are the disturbances, and this is how I handle the disturbances and all that, and how many times or how long or how many cycles of such happenings are taking place, things like that. So since you are practicing for 1 hour, so it's a good time frame to give a formal report.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you very much for speaking up. Right. Anybody else? All right. So if there is no more comments, we can transfer merits. The positive energies we have generated throughout the session today, and to pass these energies to all the living beings, helping us in the process of understanding Lord Buddha's teaching. Especially Chatu is doing a great job. A lot of responsibilities when I'm not there, and he's taking care of them so well. And this participation, although it is small, it is very important. This is how this teaching has survived. There has been someone to teach, and there has been someone to follow, and it has come for 2,600 years. So therefore, these blessings will be with all the participants here, and anyone who is really rejoicing what we do, saying sadhu, 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 maybe human beings or non-human beings, doesn't matter. We can pass our energies to all these beings. To do that, we will chant the traditional stanzas.